Good day. Today is January 23rd, 2017. My name is Yah'Mein. You can catch me on Black Spot, and you can also catch me on Twitter under both Yah'Mein. And today my message is calling all women. So I am officially asking all women, whether that be an elder, a mother, a daughter, or a friend, and my brothers too, but yet mostly this message will be to the woman. And that will be because we have that spiritual backbone, and in these days, that's what we need. And usually that would have been in the ground of the church, but there's so much and deterring in the church. So the support, spiritual support, will have to come from those who are not even in the church, and even including those who's walking in the churches. And that will be including all the churches over the world who believe in the Most High. And I understand that we as a nation have our differences in how we define or even name or even place an attachment to the Most High. So, and that would be in the differences of religions. But however, I'm calling all women today because there is a deceit and a deception that's going on in our world. And that would be in the name of Planned Parenthood. I watched the Women's March, and it sounded so nice, to hear all these white women come and have the support of all other many nations come together and fight for the rights of women's health and women's rights to live, to vote, to equal pay. I understand those are our issues. As a whole, as a nation as a whole, as far as women. But then there's an indifference when it's going under the motion and the method of Planned Parenthood, which is deception, because Planned Parenthood forms an alliance of eugenics laws, which is an barbarism of killing and annihilating indigenous races or the minority races that are non-black. So when I see the black woman, even the Spanish woman, all the women stand up and support Planned Parenthood, I get a lot angry, because you're standing up for the right to kill your unborn babies, to have your unborn fetuses used in bio technology or biomedics. That's where these babies, aborted babies, are being used for. Donor tissues being sold on the black market, on Amazon, China, all over. And these aborted babies are even being placed in your foods. This is why you see so many Chinese food stores closing down. And how many times does the news have to tell you that McDonald's foods have human DNA in it, so they're finding this human meat. Where's this coming from? And these come from your aborted babies, yes, or your missing children. So, and they doing experiments on this. So we standing up to fight for women's right. I understand. But we're fighting also in the same conglomerate of our own our own biological annihilation, and and I'm saying genome, because these are our children, these are of us, our essence. And I've been looking, with all the excuses in the world besides being raped. Why would we want to abort, our children? And it be because of hardships on the world, or hardships in the relationships that we endure, or whatever. But the epitome and the real defining of having liberation as a woman is not standing up for power of getting rid of children. That shouldn't be a source to pull strength in. Now I understand supporting our health, which would tie into our medical act with, providing medical services, for women, and in poor economical communities and indigenous places all over the world. I understand that support, but not where it is you're not feeding families, or you're not giving families things they need unless they take birth control, or even with countries not receiving funding unless they promote the use of birth control. This eugenics here, and black people woman, if you don't look at yourself and see yourself being used as an incubator, you're being used as food, and they're funding it. They're helping fund your decision to get rid of children because of hardships that is placed on you because you don't have the job or whatever reason. That comes with back in the 30s, where the African mother, or black parents, even in South Carolina, in the Carolinas, the mothers weren't getting food stamps or whatever unless they agreed to have their daughters tending up euthanized, or birth controlled as a form of receiving state assistance. So that, there's trauma there with supporting unethical base to promote, womanhood. Now, where I'm going with this too is the fact that if you go into the time of your slavery, as I stated in another video, the white women are always used as the missionaries, as the ones who go into the community, who use to promote and try to persuade the families to do, such acts normally that they would probably go against. And the force of the church that promotes this in secret, because the church does support abortions, especially the Catholic Church. And in the Christian churches, pastors probably don't even know what's going on because don't nobody even bring up that topic. So that free will we have as women to make those choices, that's fine or whatever. However, making the decision to abort a life, for our own, whatever our own personal issues may be clout at that time. And I can say that as a person who personally knows from personal experience of being a person who had it at a young age, being in foster care, and those were my only options looked at as a child in foster care. You already have a kid, my son, and how would you would have another one? What would you do with your life? So, and I was living in Catholic Guardian Society, Catholic Archdiocese Society, foster care agency, and that was the biggest and the only option to have, to the point I ran away. Even though I had a baby, I still ran away, pregnant again. And even to say young pregnancy still is not cool, but this is where it comes with mothers and bridges and building bridges with their daughter to stop these generational early on pregnancies that are unwanted sometimes and not even planned, So there's other avenues to take and other educational methods to take instead of promoting number one, feeding your body poison, which is in birth control, the sterilization that is doing to you purposefully, like horses they did, And that's the same medications, that they're giving to your body, changing your hormones, your mental cycle, and your menstrual cycle. They're both going to become unbalanced. Nobody's discussing that disgusting, stances that go along with promoting birth control. And then on top of that, you have these white women who, and according to Donald Trump, let's make America great again. But since America, and as I said, spreading through other places like Africa and Guatemala and all these places where they're creeping in, and they know that they're poor, so the advantages of giving these countries monies would be funding abortions or funding birth control, and in exchange for, funding for the government, money into the communities. So it's like our bodies for money are being jeopardized and are being promoted. Your fall, or the devaluation, the appreciation of your womb is already marketed, and these women, whether they be from the church or whatever organizations they come from under Planned Parenthood, which has an attachment to the Ku Klux Klan, Margaret Sanger, who is also someone that Hillary Clinton heavily praises. So let's look at the foundation of Planned Parenthood alone. So how could these women, even though they come into your neighborhood and they give you bread and they bring your kids shoes and they give you $10, they're still not your friend, but you will walk with them and march with them because they need you to help support and keep their fundings going. Because remember, the government is thinking about defunding Planned Parenthood. So the more people, especially women, come together mysteriously after the election, it should have been before that, I'm quite sure this was planned, to try to persuade possibly the government or whatever to continue with the aiding and the funding of helping us kill these black children from being born. And with the help and the aid of the black woman, we are guaranteed to continue on our success. Look how long we have been going on. And look how many black babies, they said more black babies has been aborted with those who died from cancer and HIV alone. And that's a problem, because we die. We don't live. We don't survive. Those babies, including myself, we could have built many things great. We don't see that because we're looking at temporary issues when we make our judgments. But back to my basis of the black woman and why I'm calling all women. Come up out of that bull. Come up out of that Planned Parenthood way of thinking. And I understand that we want world unity because the world would be great if all had unity. I understand the want and the needing to live amongst all in peace. I understand that there should be no more racism in the world. I understand that, but not at the exploit of my own dignity, not at the extent of my own pride or my own womb, or catching sexual diseases. And I understand Planned Parenthood is a great source for providing services to women who are catching it, and especially in these times where children 12 in California are able to have consensual sex, prostituting. It would make sense to have Planned Parenthood available. All the babies they will abort, all the defilement they will cause upon themselves. This is pushed by the people. Remember, we the people make these decisions. So people in the courtroom has made that decision, and I am certain that it was women in that room, because this is the promotion and attack on the annihilation of nations. You understand? So black woman, because you, me, we are one. So I'm speaking to you, because Latin America, no offense to you, but your fights seemed a little differently from me. Because to me, it seems as many Latin Americans, just as there's many who don't affiliate themselves as being in a supremacist way of thinking, but some have that way of thinking. And that I attribute to, of course, the whitewashing. And that's whitewashing on the geneticism and the whitewashing on that mind. So those play a role. So I forgive those who don't know what they do. When you in your mind see yourself as you. I'm not black. I don't nothing come. You know, just disassociation of your own blackness. That is all. You know, not just Hispanics. I mean, that comes all over. However, I make this tone because it affects all women all over the world. However, the most held down is those who look like me, the children who look like mine, and that effect of, number one, their lives being at jeopardy. Number one, they're getting poor education, and then you have, you know, just a poor system of injustices to your children, you know, with that foster care agency. There in this, you know, injustices. Look who ran the system for 40 years, an Hispanic woman. And I'm not coming against my Hispanic people because I have many Hispanic friends and family. But yeah, I'm on some real shit, so I kind of don't give a fuck about this apologetic chronic bullshit. But anyway, what I am saying is that in certain in that situation, 40 years, same length of time Hillary Clinton has been in cabinet. 40 years Hillary Clinton has been bragging how such a great help and support in the network she's been doing to children, which I don't see, and I'm quite sure it ain't being felt, you know. However, I wonder what children is she referring to. But back to the ACS, you know, Children Administration and Services, and you see who led that. You know, she recently stepped down after the death of the little boy, Spanish boy. May his soul sleep and rest on. That, you know, these brutal killings of kids for how many damn years? That shit sickens me. You know, it pisses me off. This shit pisses me off. How many children? Because color plays no role. And it's sad that when it comes to children, color don't play no role. But when it comes to adults, we have a big indifference. But children being slaughtered in the hands of the Children Administration. And only now, boop, we have to decide this chick need to step the fuck down. Was she not a problem 40 damn years ago? Or was she in cahoots? Because the rise of the Hispanic woman has taken a great rise. And I know they noticed this. Because a lot of Hispanic communities too have, if you look in even their economic, not borrowing, but just what they're bringing in as a whole is in the billions as well. And not alone what they dish out to their, you know, their countries from where they come. So they're making money. So they have had a great boost of economic, housing prospects, especially when it comes to housing, you know, them being placed into certain housing areas. There's so many criteria I can go and delve into, but not just Hispanics. It's many, so I'm not making it a race issue. However, if you notice, they're rising in their network and their support, especially with this Hillary Clinton phenomenon. And Hillary phenomenon is connected to the Planned Parenthood phenomenon. So in the black families, you get sprinkled into this phenomenon because the demise is heavily used for you and against you and your children and your future children. So you have a great, strong support and network when it comes to females, empower the power of the woman, you know, and to think women weren't able to vote. I would now see why. Not because we are unable to. I don't think that would be the reason. It's just the power that we have, you know, and the forces that we can create together. But let's do it righteously. That's my thing. It's not being done righteously. So under Planned Parenthood, the false deception of having something righteous in a movement that's righteous because we want, you know, women to have just fairness, period. That is supreme. But it's not righteous. It supports death, lies, deceit, stealing, killing. So what movement is this? What peace is coming out of this? What love is coming out of this? What blessing is coming out of this? Nothing. You're creating and fighting in a force that is attacking you. Not only that, the people who are the funders of it. You have all these celebrities who come out and they speak highly of why they want this. Those are the daughters of the dawn. To me, they're the daughters of the dawn. Those are the KKK children. You know, the men wear the sheet, they hide their face, but the woman, they send them. While your master out trying to go round up and buy some more slaves, it's the woman who's forming a little club, who has their little organizations. And by no circumstance do you know that the black woman, being the mammy in the house, she has a great role, even though she's devalued. I'm more than certain, you know, by watching these stupid ass slave movies, you know, let's go back into Hope, I think it was. You see the white girls always come to the black woman because she raising all these little white children, and she's teaching them and giving her more love and more structure than her own children. And she has to be tough on and harder on, so they don't have to go through the struggle and the plight that she's, you know, fighting to break free from. Even on that plantation, you know. So that plantation mindset of that white woman has not changed. Neither has that white man. And now that you, who were the product of it, that black slave, you're not in bondage, nor are they in that cabin, master cabin. Now we on Wall Street, you in the projects, different shit. But here you are under the same mind trajectory or defect. The breeding of a nigga male and a nigga female. And you create the lighter version. And that's how you get to stir up confusion. But that's one thing. But the stirring up in the confusion in this women's march, why I'm calling on women, is whether you light skin or dark skin, Puerto Rican or whatever, that's whatever. But for the epitones of the black woman, because your bondage it's been purposefully meant to hurt you, and you're stuck in, just like in these Middle Eastern countries. We fighting for these Middle Eastern women here in America. Meanwhile, you're a slave back in these, like in Cairo. You're a slave in this Sudan. You're a slave in your own lands. And here we are supporting all these things. Like I said, I want world peace. I surely do. But where's the true fight? Is it for or against you? Because Iran in the Middle East funds your black children being in prison here in America. Just like they fund and support abortions here in America and disguise it as Planned Parenthood. We offer care. We offer this. We offer this. The devil got a lot of offering just to get what he need from you. And he sends his missionaries. They're always on a mission to go help save the world, free the people, free the woman, liberate the woman. Was Margaret Sanger liberation for her woman or for all women? Because even though we even fought in marches years ago with this woman liberation shit, has the black woman been fully or even supported as much as these non-black women? No. You're still fighting. You're still crying. Number one, you're crying because you want advancement. You're tired of being in these ghettos because white America thinks that you like being in these dirty ass ghettos. Who the hell want to live in that shit? Nobody want to live in piss and feces, even though that's what the people doing it at the same time, and non-cleaning up of even the outside structure and even in the inside structure. So if you live in hell, you're gonna feel like hell, and you're gonna create hell, and you produce hell. This is done. This is done. There's a deliberation in it, but also there's accountability in it too. So it's the pendulum effect. But the pendulum don't always fall in your favor. Ever. It doesn't fall in the favor of you. It didn't fall in the favor of your ancestors before you, your mothers and fathers. So what advantage does your children have? Remember, you grew up with a dream, and your parents grew up with dreams. Their parents too grew up with dreams. And at some point, we were accelerating and mastering our dreams, and we fell asleep. Slavery. Then you woke up out of that slavery, and you became masters and excellers again, and they put you back into sleep. So now you're waking up again, trying to figure out how do we break free from the entanglements of this supremacy. This system. And it's easy to use the woman, just like in the beginning, the woman is always used as the tool. So you get the black woman in, gain her trust and her support, put her in some form of leadership, and have her help you on those front lines. But does the black woman get the same recognition and the same acceleraship? No. And this is something that they were mentioning too at the Women's March. Black women and white women getting the same, pay, blah, 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 blah. But then also something too that I love that was written. This is paramount. It was written that the wicked, there's children's children will help to free you from your afflictions. And then there's an Eddie Bowie video, Black Star. And in the video, I mentioned this, where there was a black woman, they conjured back up spirit. And then all the white women were bowing down to this black woman. And there's a line in David Bowie song where he says, all the women and children will bow, or whatever. So, in taking into fact and knowing the occurrence of that supremacist way of thinking, I have to think two sides to this. Are we getting caught up and being misled or deceived again into fighting for or voting with and moving and marching along this great hope, American hope of just solidarity amongst all nations? Is that is this what is coming? Is this what is to be? Is these days to come? Are these days approaching? Are those children of the wicked changing? Are they going against their ancestors? Are they seeing the faults of their fathers attacks against genocide against us? Because if that's so, Planned Parenthood should speak up against Margaret Sanger and denounce that white bitch. Her theory. Because how can I move amongst these people, these white women, especially they got more power than you, not even monetarily, but just socially. They have their own force, and their own way of thinking, and how they help push a movement, right? And they, just like with music, when white artists want to get when they come out, they usually put them in with the blacks first, and then if the blacks like them, then they're go, and then they just succeed. So here we are in this time, in this day where you have these women who, again, because we had a women's movement before, but this time on Planned Parenthood coming together in motion, and for the summons of fighting for women, fighting for women. I mean, back then they was talking about not getting your ass beat or whatever, and we have come a long way or whatever with fighting to get, women from being, just beaten, and not just here in America or across the world. So I like those things. But you can't ignore the foundation and the root of the cause. How can we join hand in forces as one female organization when the person who created this organization created it with the thought and theory of annihilating me? Then you put me in the seat to help you rise up and keep your funding money. Do you not understand that, ladies? They need you so that they can keep their funding. And then back to selling your babies under the black market. Is that something righteous? Is that what we want as women? Is that something that you feel you should support? I understand gay rights is even separate from that, but yet conglomerate, because I'm quite sure half of these females probably gay themselves. And I don't care about the attacks. Like I said, I'm at this point in my life, who cares? We are either going to agree or disagree. So anyway, so let's think about the agendas, these blind hitting factors, these blind agendas that we black females, women, we are always falling for. Y'all not tired of falling for the fuckery? You're not tired of being used for the bait and fish game, the alligator babies? That's what you're doing. You're entrapping yourselves, even Hispanic women, even the Indian woman, even the Chinese woman, Palestinian women, all over the world. Because you don't even look at like India. They're using the womb of these women for incubation for these white women who are not able to breed. I don't even know if they clones or whatever, so they can't create. So therefore, the new thing is using another woman's womb, parable with your gene, to muster up another baby. That's the new thing. That's going down underground. You got actors, websites, Honest, for instance, with a bunch of white babies. What's so honest about that? What? Creating babies honestly, or adopting babies honestly? Who knows? That's a whole nother subject. But this is what I'm trying to tell you, woman, indigenous woman, minority woman. Your fight in America is different from that white woman fight. I mean, her fight with her man is different than the fight you got with your man. And that's against your man. Her fight with her man and her white man is not the same fight that you got with that black man. It's not the same fight what you got with that Muslim Islamic man. It's not the same fight that you have with that Spanish man. They're not the same fight, because her white man is killing your men. So how can you join forces with her unless she's going up against her man too? So where's the true purpose and the reason for this women's movement? Or is this an agenda? So I'm calling on women, but that's for righteousness, not to promote abortion. That's not righteous. That's not woman's power. There's nothing righteous in that shit. Killing your own kids. Nah, that ain't righteous. And that's not a movement. And again, like I said, is that Margaret Sanger talking? Because Margaret Sanger said that these other races are a disgrace to the earth. Planned Parenthood, Ku Klux Klan, member, associate, Masonic order, who felt that her children's children were better than any other nation's children's children. And even to that Chinese man who's in power, I said this in another video, he is not equal to that white man. He's still subservient to him. Think about it. So, is that white woman fighting for you, or she needs you to fight for her? Which one? Does she need you to fight in this mission with her to keep her funding going? This Margaret Sanger funding eugenics going. Not only does these aborted babies help, feed these Nephilim beings, they're eating them and feeding them to you, but they use these same cells and embryos to create life for themselves. Because we know that their genetic annihilation is occurring, that the white race is not producing fast enough. So they are the actual true minorities on the planet. So they're not living. So the more that you go and defile your body, kill your babies, those are more fetus tissues that they can keep using to create their life, for going. These cells. They got even other white people doing secret videos, recording these Planned Parenthood funders, saying how up to certain terms they need babies, 13 weeks, 10 weeks. So what's going on with that? And we're okay with this shit because it fits the needs of our selfishness. You understand? Saying abortion, everybody should have a right to have an abortion, is our body. Now here you come with this pedophile man saying, okay, I like little kids, I should have a right to like whatever I want to, right? So there's laws in place to protect him, so when he molests, his criminal sentence is not that much, right? Because pedophilia is legal in certain places. So we're funding unrighteous bullshit. And you black women, you Hispanic women are great markets. You're used in this scam. And you're not realizing that they're killing you too. They're promoting injection in your children. But you're too blind to see. So I'm calling on women to come up out of that filth, because this is Mystery Babylon, right? The mystery of Babylon is you are all the stolen, raped children who didn't get aborted. Came here. Some of you were created, mixed through slavery or whatever. However the pendulum swung, we're created here. We're living here together here. But there's still agendas here. The annihilations here are still being enforced. And that is to depopulate places that are non-white. Alright? So are you all going to rise up, Planned Parenthood, and beg the government to support a movement that don't mind helping you decide to kill a baby because you selfishly want to have sex as a choice in those situations? I'm not speaking of the woman who didn't have a choice or who's being taken advantage of. But for the ones who we are as women, we choose. So our own minds, our own choices is being promoted. It's being helped especially with your videos and having sex. It ain't nothing. We're dumb. We're just, you don't understand the unrighteousness, the mileage you're putting on your own womb, the torment. Because when you have an abortion, you don't wake up smiling. You wake up crying, as if your body knows what it did was wrong. Just knows. So how many times you gonna wake up crying because you aborted a child? You could never say, if I had the baby, it would have did this. You could never say. You don't know. But it's made to look nice. Planned Parenthood is used as a tool to help you stop creating you. Because they tired of looking at you. They're tired of feeding you. They trying to get rid of food stamps. They trying to get rid of all this shit. And it seems like a lot of Hispanics and blacks or other non-whites are using up their money. So if they could just get you to continue to kill and annihilate your damn self, then they are doing a great job. And you are doing a great job at helping them. So again, not only on the abortion, with equal pay, do you have, except for this one time in how many years, white women standing their asses up to say we want equal pay? We want equal pay. I mean, you hear it, right? I heard it a lot. We want. And it's crazy because unless the white woman want it, we ain't getting it. But she needs you to help her. Remember, she needs you to help her. Not us, or them, or we. It's her. She benefits. Like I said, these are her men she going up against. So you're helping her fight her man to say, give us, other white women, right? Because they're fighting their men. You, her peasants, her mistress, the slaves, right? Should come and help me fight the master. Help me fight the master. Because he beat me. Because, I mean, yeah, they going through the same shit, right? Well, because he's empowering me. And you probably encourage her ass. Because you too get beat. Because the fall of the woman from the beginning, it says that the man will rule over the woman, right? So if that was a curse that a man will now rule over you, what happened before he was given authority to do so? That means you have power and you were free to use it. So it had to have been taken from you as a form of punishment, and now you're fighting to get it back. Unrighteously. That's the problem. We got so conformed and caught up in fighting in the ways of the world that we are conforming to it. Women, come up out of that mystery thinking, that mystery way of living. And let's choose wisely our husbands. Let's choose wisely things we say, how we conduct ourselves, so that we don't have to have an abortion. That's what I'm saying. Let's be righteous. And run them out. We don't need eugenics. You have a mind. And even with the brothers, that's where you come in. Being smart about it. And teaching our children to be smart about sexuality and sex. And urges. And understanding. Just because you got it don't mean you got to do it. Be wise about it. Because just like in the 30s, after this little Great Depression, They was telling families in order to receive your benefits, you needed to have birth control because you having 10 kids. It's too much. Even though they done stole your shit and bombed you out. Right? It's crazy. So the woman who was coming out to y'all houses, doing home visits, the woman, right? She comes to tell you, you got too much this, you can't have too much that, because you on welfare and that TV shouldn't be there, because that's not according to the welfare budget. I mean, come on. Nothing changed, so you shouldn't even want to be on welfare either. Shit is crippling in the mind. Come up out of that. Because when you have to depend and feed and need from the beast, there's always a price to pay. But my thing with this movement, again, is, here we are in the book of Revelations, where it says the children of the wicked will help free you from your affliction. So when they're rebelling against their forefathers. They're rebelling against a system that also rejects them too. And the Pope, like I said, I was in the Catholic Guardian Society foster care agency. So, I mean, they obviously don't have a problem with you aborting your babies, because they promoting prostitution and all this other nasty ass homosexual molestation shit. So they don't have a problem being the cup of defilement. And the harlot is, from England. And their daughter Hillary. See, the daughters of darkness. You got Hillary. You got Sarah Palin, you got your Kellyanne's, and you got your Margaret Singer's, women like her who still exist. These are their children's children. So they are still living under this supremacist way of thinking, seclusion of illusion. Or the illusion of seclusion. One of the two. You're still getting lied to. So, is the women's movement really for women's movement? Or is it a rebellion of the male matriarch of rulership? I think those are two separate issues. You understand? Two separate issues. Don't fight for my health and my liver and my kidneys. Also because that's under health. You understand? You go under the Health Care Act and you fight for free right to health. But for the abortion specifically, and I'm quite sure those services were thrown in there because you got to make it look like you're doing something else to say that we're helping these women to contain and keep these fundings. So a little breast mammogram will go along with it. Shit, they taking out your insides. Might as well make sure the breast, is okay, or they might need something in there too. But anyway, are we in the era, are we in the time that as nations, it is great that we all come together? I mean, that's the only way we're going to survive, if we all come together, right? At the same time, coming together, meaning if you're white, that means you would have to have the ability to denounce your rulership, those forces of power that you were born into, some of you. I don't have a problem with white folks. I don't have a problem with any goddamn folks. But I have a problem with the supremacist way of thinking. And then that goes into, well, black people may feel like they're supremacists too in our way of thinking. Well, In all the years of history of histories of histories, you have not ever seen that way of going, of happening. Even when they're given the position of power, they don't have this supremacist rant towards white people in a major way. They conform with you too. So the brotherhood, back to Jacob, I don't know. Well, Isaac, Ishmael, that bondage of brotherhood is broken when it comes to color, but it's bonded when it's going against color. A certain color. Black. So my fight is for my people. It makes only sense that you fight for your people. Everybody got to fight for their own. But righteously. That's the thing. Are you fighting righteously? Are the women who standing up today standing up for something righteous? So can we have a movement of women, of our mighty, strong, supreme woman, all natural woman, whether you got to weave or not, whatever. I mean natural in the mind, natural in your heart. That's natural. Can we form our own righteous? And I said, elders, mothers, daughters, friends, grandchildren, walk in righteousness. Can we bond in righteousness? And the support of that spiritual movement in righteousness. Where is it? Well, Yah'Mein, even if this is a one person thing, which I did as a one woman, go on 125th Street, stand up just for an hour to see. And I have children, so I will with my own children be willing to go on the street and form a righteous. And that goes back to the heart of your temple and the purity and the sanctity of your church, being the vessel and the body. Build it back in righteousness. Can we build our temples back and restore ourselves into righteous beings, woman, supreme knowings, mother nurturers? Are you going to stay broken and conforming to Planned Parenthood and your own annihilation? Come up out of that mystery shit, because you think you going in for one thing. You think you're going to go get an abortion. I just found this out last year. They using tissue from these fetuses. And me and my own unknowing as a young little girl in foster care, just had a baby at 17, had it. Pregnant at 16, get pregnant again. I ain't even 20, not even 19. And being sat down with all your social workers, directors, sat down and say, hey, this is what a decision is for you. So my decision was to say, see ya, I'm going to run away. And where the hell would I go? And what option would be for a foster child? 18, 19. Shelters, right? Because that's the only solution we got, right? So you run to a shelter, you like, shit, this shit is disgusting. At least I was living okay. So it's like, damn, I want to go back, but I can't unless I don't have a baby. So a choice, I conform to myself. And waking up out of that deforming and defiling of my body because you didn't know. So mothers, teach your daughters to know. Number one, know what they're doing to these babies that they're aborting, but just don't do it at all. Hold your legs so tight and proud. Be mindful. See, if we promote this, then we have greatness. That's Planned Parenthood. You don't do anything until you're ready. Because you have to take care of it. You have to support it. You can't depend on your government. And you shouldn't want to. At the same token, Planned Parenthood Sounds pretty nice, right? Planned Parenthood. So if you plan a parenthood, that means cooperation. You and I both agreed to do this. Except in that situation, under the umbrella of Planned Parenthood and its false title, meaning it is for unplanned parenthood. This is our secret scapegoat to our deeds. So I don't even say, if you're doing it, stop. That's what I'm saying today. Don't do it again. Please. We got a nation to build. So we need all our seeds. And at the same token, wake up and understand that we have been fighting fights for so many generations. You have had civil rights movement going on for so many years. Human rights for so many years. LBGT. Come out of nowhere. Even though it's been there. But out of nowhere. And boom, it excels. Hit the courthouse. Becomes a law. And boom, and stone. Planned Parenthood pushes this. But not for your civil rights, right? Not for equal rights, right? Where is woman's right in that? Because I plan on being an equal ass woman. And my civil rights should not be violated in the process, right? Come on. Nobody funding that. But for your embryos, and because I can't procreate the way you black indigenous women are, or you non-white women are producing, I need those damn embryos. I need you to abort your babies to bed. I need that tissue to help me create in my womb. Is that what's going on? With this transhuman program, with this transgenderism going on, where you got male, female, egg, mix, one, you don't know what the hell is produced. That's what they're doing, because science, biomolecular, the mitosis of a being, your mitochondria, they're learning the science of a left. They know so much about the makeup and the chemical makeup of a body. They're using even your when you go do C-sections and all this, they're using these things that they're taking out of your body to help build someone else's. Meanwhile, funding and fighting and supporting you to, yes, have a great mammogram, and yes, for you to have a great cervix. I understand that, but at the expense of what? See, they gotta monitor your cervix and your breast and all of this when you're getting shot with these poisons. So it makes sense for them to give you these pap smears and these GYN services, especially if they're sticking you with these poisons, these horse estrogens, synthetics, to keep your womb asleep. So it makes sense they want to monitor where their tissue is coming from, because you'll be back. Is that what is going on? See, they know and study you. They study and monitor the behaviors of the communities in each state, just like they can monitor and study the crisis of the money value in certain communities. They can also study and monitor the diseases that are heavily populated in certain communities or state. So they're monitoring your health, they monitor your wealth, and they monitor your deeds, right? Because they know who's shooting who in crime. Down to your foods is monitored, where foods are, who's eating this. So when you have commercials, it's marketed toward a certain geographical location. This is how much of the human genome and the phenomenon of the mind is being programmed, that they're even pushing things you need, even for stimuli, foods. Anyway, ain't nothing like that womb, especially to those who can't create. So like I was saying, in India, you got women they're paying women $7,000 or $10,000 if you have twins, just to use your womb as an incubation. I mean, this was going on with Abraham and Sarah, or whatever her name was. This is why he got into the mess he made, because he didn't want to wait for children, and she didn't want to wait. So he went and did matters in his own hand. And then God had to say, all those nations that you created was of sin, but your covenant that I made with Isaac will stand. So we are repeating the same things that were going on back from the days of Abraham. Same shit as Lot, Gomorrah, and Sodom. This is where we are again. And woman, you black nature supreme, you the mother, the birther of all creations on this earth. Your womb was the creation, right? Used. So why are you conforming? Why are you conforming and not creating? You are the creator, but you're conforming to your own creation. Some shit. It says that the potter in the clay. The potter in the clay, meaning the potter creates the clay, but now the clay became the potter. And then you looking and we're like, oh my gosh, that celebrity's cloned. That celebrity's cloned. And then we're listening to scientists and even other artists say that they may have been cloned or they are cloned, admitting these things. And then you see science research, and on your government, congress.gov, you can see legislations being passed on cloning, human cloning. So we cannot say that cloning is not being done, because it is. It's in your legislation. Woman, where are you? Are we at an age where we must hold ourselves accountable and reign supreme as mothers, as daughters, as leaders, as doctors, as singers? If you a rapper, be righteous in your doing. So if we're not supporting ourselves being righteous, then you don't mind standing up for some bullshit called Planned Parenthood, saying that we want to free and fight for everything right, for the woman, for the woman, for the woman, for the woman, for the woman. Yes, the woman, righteously. Because the woman in America from before promoted your birth control, wouldn't feed your ass unless you took them shots. Then mind your kids going hungry, or requiring or requesting home visits to prove we should feed you. And now you are walking to support them who didn't mind not feeding you. Are you hearing me? It's unfortunate, but this is the world that we live. We don't mind conforming. So my message is to my mothers, to the daughters out there, to the sisters out there, to all you rebels out there, you militant sisters out there, these alphas, you thetas, you gammas, or whatever groups of segregated populations that's out here in the world. Whoever, wherever, whenever, however you put and categorize yourselves. And as I said, I do not have a gay woman or gay man's movement, and I do not support those things. So, and I am not supporting them to help me either. But I do have a movement or a way of speaking to even you if you're dealing with the homosexual. This is not your topic. But if you're willing to come out of that unrighteousness, then I'm talking to you too. Because all of this comes in the form of Mystery Babylon. All of this fall on using you to destroy you. That's the beauty of Planned Parenthood. But at the same time, like I said, we are at a time where it says the children's children will help to free you from your affliction. So that goes with good and bad. You got some who are good and you got some that are bad. So those who are in alignment with Planned Parenthood, you are unrighteous. But if you have something outside of that and you want to speak for the movement of woman and you want to build for the betterment of the woman, then that is righteous. That is something done in righteousness. That is, if you're promoting no sex till marriage or no sex till something, or something that makes sense without having to put something in your body to destroy your own structure, way of thinking, to shut down your own organs from producing estrogen that it biologically is equipped to do, because you want freedom of sex. So at that extent, now when you find you somebody and you want a baby, you can't create the baby because your eggs is not working and functioning in the right way it should have 10 years ago because you was poisoning, polluting your body. This is done purposefully. So why help support a sister that is systematically in support of you dying or killing yourself or using you as an energy source for their own creational ways of living and survival? That's my problem. Mothers, elders, daughters, cousins, sisters, and friends. I am calling on the righteous woman. Where that church at? Where you at? All the daughters who saying they worship to this God, whether it be Ifa or whoever. And even back to that, I'm watching voodoo in Africa, voodoo in Haiti, and in Africa, you got women doing voodoo and just to go prostitute from in another country. So you got Africans going to Italy to prostitute their body, and under submission of voodoo and feeling like these things are sacred, they do it. I want to know what the hell is sacred about that. Nothing is sacred about that. Asking God to protect you from evil when you are already doing evil, or you are already putting your body in a situation where harm can come to you, prostituting yourself in another state just so you can feed your family, and the men in Africa who are okay with this. That's just disgusting. See, now this is unrighteous, but this is what's going on. Just like the promotion in India, you got women promoting that. Just like you got missionaries, the white missionaries, they're going to use these black women to come in the black community, use the Indian women to go in the Indian community, they need the Spanish women to go in the Spanish community. That's how it's operated. And then you come together under this one union and say, we need to fight for the alliance of all, because they're providing you these services, right? So it's helping you. So you're going to fight to protect and do this. Meanwhile, their agenda is for something else. But we get caught up in the fight of others. Where is your fight? Don't lose your battle. Don't lose the fact that it's your men out here who's getting killed. You're not even creating anymore. Or they want to prevent you from creating more. So they will kill your womb and make sure that they annihilate the ones that's still here. 2 for 1. So are we going to pride ourselves in annihilating our own selves? Or would you pride yourselves in becoming righteous with the selves that you create and the selves that you are creating? As mothers, as daughters, as sisters, and as friends. Where is that union? I'm calling out, woman. Where are you? Build back that temple. So I need to hear from sisters who are willing to build the temple. The temple ain't the church. The temple be your body. Build it up first, so then that your strong churches may stand. How can a church stand if the body is in defilement? You become weak and conform, woman. So that fall from grace we done had, we know that the earth is shifting. Because as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And that woman who wrestled with the seed of the dragon in the beginning, in the form of her deception and her falling of her future children, we are the children who have fell. These children being born, we're born in the world of confusion, right? We're not being brought up the way that we used to. Homes are being destroyed astronomically. Look at the crackhead era, the 80s and 90s babies, the crackhead era. That destroyed black families, the black homes. I remember before I got taken away, we were having Sunday dinners. Every Sunday, the family would come together and have this big old dinner. It wasn't just on Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving was just a better feast. But every Sunday was like a feast. So those systems are destroyed because you have children being taken here, children being taken here. The crackhead era, which is in the I'm 35, so that's been 35 years. And if a lady in ACS has been in the system for 40 years, that means she's been around for the duration of the crackhead era. So she's been a part of the children who've been taken and placed into the system and forced to care, who are being placed into homes of people who are raping and abusing these children and killing these kids. And now you see these rampant little boys coming out homosexual, these rampant girls coming out bisexual, bicurious at an astronomical rate. Out of nowhere. Where the hell are they parents? You done disrupted the whole balance of their earth, their whole mind cycles. I became a part of that, victim of that system. 35 years I am, right? Hillary Clinton been in this political arena. She brags for over 30 years. And then to know for the administration of children's services back from the Clinton administration. And then you look at the amount of children who were taken into foster care under this drug law, right? The father's been taken into prison. The mother's, she home fiend out. So now you taking her kids, her man, he in jail. So you got a good market of slavery going on. Great market. Some of these parents don't even know where the hell their children are today. You got children today still looking for their parents. I found my mama 11 years ago. My brothers and sisters on MySpace. So the black community is going through many dysfunctions, many building back bridges. You watched on Keisha Cole and her show where you see her, thank God for her success. She's even at that situation at the time, and to build a relationship back, not only with her mother, but with her brothers and sisters too, that she didn't, have the fortunate to be raised with, and that imbalance that it caused, because I became a victim of that too, a product of that too, where you're meeting your brothers and sisters, and y'all two different people, y'all are bunches of different people. And for my siblings, the life that they had to endure with the molestations while they were in care, and the system not being there to support them, the legal system. So you have to take into a great alignment to where, what are your fights for here? And look at the people in position who are supposed to protect. A lot of women are given power, right? Hillary Clinton has great power. And then the female who stepped down from the ACS, that's a great power. But look at the unrighteous acts, use with the power. So women are given power, men are given power, but these are unrighteous beings promoting us to do unrighteous acts, to create an unrighteous environment. And the environment outside of yourself is unrighteous. The foods you're eating, the crimes, the lies, the pollution in your air. But then what's going on in the body that becomes unrighteous? The heart, the attack on the mind, the cervix, the uterus, these attacks that goes on the prostate, the breast. This is what's going on, and this is what causes these things. But yet we support and we fight in the right to have the freedom to destroy our own self. Do you understand? So as a nation, race is separate, right? Even though it plays its foundation. Because you can have a group of white, black, cinnamon, whatever, who can have a righteous movement. And then you can have a group of people who have a majority of something more than the other groups and use it as a bait to keep them submissive in in the situation here in America, all over the world. Look at Argentina, their hunger or whatever. And they don't have to go hungry. There's enough money on this planet and no one should go hungry ever. But power and race plays a role according to the evildoers who's given that power, whether they are white or black. Because even in Africa, there's hungry people and you got black leaders in power. But then at the same token, you still got white people, hands, even in Africa, ruling places still in Africa, a place that ain't even they shit. You can't even say, go back to Africa. You got these motherfuckers ruling in Africa too. You understand? See, this is blasphemy that we're playing with. And we're playing because it seems like many don't mind playing along. We don't mind conforming our own knowings, your own sacred, because people got outside of a religious philosophical way of thinking. You have your own, standards. So you would go against your own standards, your I would nevers. That's what it would be called. I would never suck a dick, right? Let's say a person would say that. And then here you got these little boys like up in the Middle East. Boys don't suck dick, right? But then you have 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds being molested. They homeless. They don't got nowhere to go. You got people coming in molesting these kids. Now he's sucking a dick. Because that's the only way he gonna eat. That's the only way this man gonna give him food. Because our heart's so goddamn cold. Don't nobody taking nobody kids out of the heart. So here you go. This man causing Sodom on these little kids. Now this little boy, 7, 8 years old, you used to doing something outside of your own bounds for survival. So when you come a teenager, you can't tell me I can't do this. Now here I am a man. You can't say I can't do this because this is all I've been doing. And that's the realm of what's going on too. And is that fair? So fighting for gay rights to me wouldn't be fair to the children's rights who have not had the right to fairly choose. Just like human rights. You didn't choose to be, have inhumane acts brought upon you. These are people who choose to do this in the minds of being wicked. And it ain't really the color that makes you wicked. It's you, the mind. It's the mind. And some people play on the minds, just like with these white people today. When I said in the Bible how it says the children, they took that part out. I don't know how, but it was written that that would happen as well. So you have the children, the wicked so-called forefathers of this, founders of this nation, right? Their children are rebelling. They don't want to be cruel anymore. They don't want to do wicked acts anymore. They don't believe in the lies anymore. Right? So they speak out against the genocides against their ancestors. Some. And then you have some who will continue on with the hatred. Continue on with the legacy of stealing and taking and deceiving and lying. The Decepticons. You don't have a problem being that Decepticon. That's what goes on here. So I'm asking the mothers, even if you brown, white, yellow, it doesn't really matter. If you're righteous, because a righteous heart is a righteous heart. Doesn't have a flesh. I like righteous hearts. And even though we all have our racial indifferences, I mean, some of us inherit this shit. You hear this all your life, so you start to adopt a certain method of thinking, just like white supremacy, So, you have to have the ability, we have to have the ability to understand that actually a supremacy of white supremacy, yes, it hurts all races, yet at the same, and have compassion towards all races. You have to be compassionate, but at the same token, you can't forget that these are the same nations, these are the same races who came and who come and conspire against you. You understand me? So as much kindness and niceness and righteousness and loving, yet at the same token, you cannot be a fool in your mind to know about that Bilderberg project, because he seeded these motherfuckers. Yep. It's the seeds of the seeds of the seeds of the seeds of the seeds. And then he went and did his little Bilderberg. They did their little Bilderberg experiment. So according to these top Aryan people breeding Nazi members, they would take their seeds and mix them up with women or whatever, especially the women who couldn't create, and they would have to go to the gynecological centers, the Planned Parenthood centers, right? Because this Planned Parenthood and eugenesis, that goes hand in hand. Because these ladies, they needed babies, and they were using these places as adoption centers too. Or helping to get, IVF. Why you think science went deep into exploring how they can, start procreating and all this other stuff? This all play a role. Plays a role. Down to stilling your melanin. And there's a vessel in me who has great compassion, as all mankind should have great compassion for all. Should. But yet, you cannot neglect to know that even in these days, worse back then, but definitely still in these days, you have nations who still conspire for profit, with especially the prison systems, not only the foster care, the prison system, the special education system. Let's look at this shit. There's special education systems, they got these misbehaved kids or whatever you want to call them, who's not acting right or whatever. These little white teachers can't deal with them, so they're labeled as special ed, right? And then these same kids are labeled when they go in the community bad or whatever, the police, they get God forbid, they get arrested. And that's on their record. So they got a facility, let's say Elmira or Clinton, all these facilities prison system facilities, attached to the Board of Education, attached to the legal system, attached, to the lawyers, and then to the Supreme system. They're all attached, and they all talk. Because when your kids go to jail or get arrested or whatever, they want to know, how are they doing in school? That's how we're going to decide how we should put your child into whatever, based on academia. So, I'm calling on women who's in submission to themselves, who love their brothers enough to first love yourself, okay? So, I don't want to be involved with anyone who don't like men. That's a problem. You wouldn't be here if he didn't go there. You understand? So I can't curse. I can, but I'm not. I can't see me forming with any entities of people who have an issue with men, especially my black, brown, chocolate brothers. Got an issue with that. So I'm calling all the women who love their men and their children and see the beauty and the brothers and their creation. I'm calling for the women who are tired of the lies and the genocidal lies, who see past the bullshit like Frances Wilson, who see like her the supremacist way of thinking and how they're using us to help them. And we're falling again. So I'm calling for the woman who righteously and spiritually, with love and compassion in the soul, willing to come forth as a nurturer, as a mother, not to pat your man on the head because, oh my God, baby, you're going to be okay. No, to stand up, rise up for yourself first, loving yourself and your essence, whether your hips is wide or your hips is straight, your ass is big or it's flat as a pancake. Love yourself. And that mind, whether your hair is cool or your nappy like mine. Love yourself. With or without the makeup. Got to love yourself. See yourself and the importance and the value of you. Because our mothers is not telling us. Nobody told me. Got to figure that shit out. And sometimes people figure it out too damn late. But if we keep putting us into classisms and racisms, then we will never have a unity. This bourgeoisie crap, or because you went to Spelman and she went to a community college, and make someone less, important, or her knowledge still may be stellar than yours. Maybe she didn't have the economic advantage probably to get there, but this is what has to be eliminated with us. We have to see us as loving sisters who want us to become better us. Because we're going to be creating a couple of more of us's in the future. So by us creating us, we want those who come after us to be greater us's. Because they seen the greatness of our us while they were here, while we were here. Our children grow up pretending to be us. My daughter sees me, and in the morning she portrays herself to be this well-groomed, loving, nice, courteous, neat person because she sees it. So when your daughter grows up and her self-esteem is shot and down because she sees it. Or when the world is showing them, showing her or him what it can be, the cruelty of saying, ew, you black, or ew, your hair, or ew, you're this. He has to know how to have the mindset to stand up for self and say, I look good. May not have that here like you, or I may not have this like you, but I'm damn good. and make others see it too. You don't got to fight. You don't got to do this. And even if you got to defend yourself, whatever, that has to be taught too. But in the essence, in the interim of it, as a daughter, as a mother, as a sister, as a cousin, as a friend, we lean on each other for those supports. When we be like, girl, your hair look good, your shoes are nice, we need each other. That formal recognition, that praise, that accolades, and just the affirmation just of understanding that we are all beautiful. And has nothing to do with color. I'm just saying the color is just who we are in design. Whether it be the shapes, whether it be the face, whether it be the hair, or whether it be the mind that is contained by those hips and that hair. So I want to know, where are the mothers? Where are the daughters? Where are you, woman? Can we build back this temple righteously? I'm asking. With us, for us, mothers to son, and bridges to daughters. That's what I stand for. Righteous. And that's what we have to stand for. Because when our brothers see us righteous, they're righteous. So when they see you acting like vultures, they become like vultures. Vice versa. But in the interim too, you know, with relationships and with the men or whatever, we don't got to be so evil. And vice versa. And chaotic towards each other. But when we learn to love ourselves and see ourselves as more nurturing and calm and caring because we have each other, then it makes it easy on us to be kind and nurturing and loving to others too. We can, we have, we can, we will. We've done it before. We were created that way. So it's within you, because that's the purpose and the intention of your creation. Children of the Delta. We are the Delta children, the galactic children, the Nubians of Nibiru. We are the children of Iya. You ever saw Avatar, the blue avatars? And you saw how they use cloning to look like these people. That's how they went in and was able to just deceive these people. The same way they're deceiving us now. Got people pretending to be like you, wolves in sheep clothing. But then there's a part in there where when the spirits was under the tree, they were connecting to the wise tree in the forest. She called the forest god Aya, even though it's Iya, but she said Aya. So, I mean, just to know that they hide the name of God, it's right there, but we never catch on. I mean, y'all, us, I had to watch it now, I caught it, but whatever. The truth is in the temple. If you listen, we pleasure our outside, meaning the clothes, the hair, making sure the nails and everything is on point. But then that same attention is not given to the mind. So the medications and the druggings occur. Because you get tired of this thinking too much. Because you're not taking the time to rationalize up there. Get back into your element, queens. Or gods, goddess. I like that better than queen. You understand? Stand strong. Walk strong. Talk strong. But with respect to your brothers. So as women who love men and their children, where are you? Call in a woman who's willing to righteously build that temple. I used to have a lot of young girls, you know, just meeting them through Facebook or whatever and talking to them, even some coming to meet me. And at that time, I'm still learning myself because I still to this day even am not 100% of myself. to my fullest potential, but that comes in the understanding of knowing. You know, when you're absent and you're not in the knowing and you're not in your spirit and you're dwelling in the fleshly world, even in the knowledge that you obtain throughout of the fleshly realm, you think it's something. I mean, I had that experience until you come out of the flesh and then you start listening to the spirit speak to you and abiding in that spirit and knowing that that spirit that speaks is nurturing, it's kind. That shit knows everything. It knows you before you know you. So it was you before you was you. So therefore, when it's in the body and telling you no or yes or no, and you having the ability to engage and listen and prevent your own self from falling into unnecessary pitfalls. So we have to learn how to strengthen that God in us, that godly presence in us. So I'm calling all the women who've mastered that or who needs help mastering. Let's help initiate each other into the mastering of who we are. Let's help initiate our brothers becoming the masters of who they are. Man, we don't need no magic. I don't need to cut the head of a chicken, guts and bloods or whatever, for this realm of the unseen spirit to give me anything. Nope. I never had to cut a chicken to get any understanding. I was born with it. But I need all the righteous women, daughters, I can keep saying it and saying it and saying it, who are willing to build the temple, the body, the mind, the spirit, and the soul. You got to build that first. Are we building it? Righteously. That's the key. Not under Masonic order doctrines. And not under false Jesus doctrines either. And knowing the true name of the King Yeshua, being the son of Yah, a son. And just knowing the truth and learning to read the words for truth. Or learning to seek things out for yourself in truth. Because God has his way of revealing things to us in our due season, in our due time. Yes. Because it says, it was written that, especially in these days, you can't wake somebody up. It's the hands of the Most High. Because they have to want to come and submit to the will of truth themselves. You have to come to the understanding and the recollection and the seeing of yourself. It's you. So all the spiritual praying and praying and thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, all of that. And then if a man is still in his flesh, the spirit is not moving. It doesn't move. But yet in churches, we would still allow these people to sit in the temple of God and defile the altar. When you get up on that pulpit and lie and pretend, you take the role in the leadership of a bishop. Meanwhile, you can't stifle or stop the own sexual perversions you have, but you the bishop. See, those are unrighteous acts that you must have control first. Powering the mind first. Not power of the sexual libido, the organs and everything, because you feel like you're a man or a woman and you should. No. Learn to know thyself, master thyself, love thyself, teach thyself. No. Live in obedience, the true ma'at. We don't follow that law, those balances anymore. We just stuck to the 10 commandments, the 10 basics. That should be just enough to get us through, according to the white man. I mean, come on. The potter is now ruled by the clay. We live in a world where if you once ruled and then you created creations and now your own creation is ruling you, something is wrong. That's like your kids ruling you. Oh my God. And we parents, back and forth with teenagers is annoying. So imagine your kids growing up ruling over you. No. So that's how it is today. You got the supremacist fuckery going on. They feel they supreme because they were born at a certain time in darkness, whatever, and you came and you were born in the light, whatever. So dark goes against light, whatever. Problems, right? Those are generational problems. However, here we are today, and we're still monitoring and following those same pillars. Those same issues are still breeding into this new age today. If it isn't racism, it's sexism. And then it's the right to be just free as a black person, period. I shouldn't have to tell my son, put your hands up or say this, because the white woman, she does not have to tell her son that. The Chinese woman does not have to tell her son that. And no, not all black people are robbers. No, because robbery is going on in China right now. There's somebody being robbed in Japan. There's somebody being robbed in Taiwan. There's somebody getting robbed in the Middle East. There's somebody getting robbed in Europe. There's somebody getting robbed in England. There's somebody being robbed in the UK. And they're not black. So it's not a black issue when it comes to crime, especially against each other. It's just that it's more selling. It's easy telling, because this is the program here where you got to keep the black nation one against the other and keep them suppressed. Because psychologically that keeps you from thinking of what else to do. You can't build a house and everybody dying around you. So that's my question too, my people. We plan on building, and let's build when there's many dying all around you. How about build that temple, that self, because the white men, like I said, that supremacist races, because it's not even just him. It's so sad. It's so many nations came against you. So these races who've come against you, thus helps in your suppression. You're not feeding them. Not only are you not giving them your economic power, you're not giving them the spiritual power. And that spiritual power you're giving them by, like I said, when you join in their marches, it's for them. When you fight for, even though it helps them support you, but it's really not related to you. When you're conforming to not speaking up about issues that affect your people and people as a whole too, you become it's a problem. And then we fight why we don't get reparations, why we don't get this. You fight for everybody else but yourself. I don't see anybody fighting for your reparations. I mean, they'll receive them. It doesn't really matter. I mean, how many years later do you have to see that? But as a whole, if we come together as a whole, in my video I said, you help me build my house, I help you build your house, then we build this house, and then we build that house, then we build this house. So we help each other, and then we feed and we grow enough vegetables that enough for everybody. So if you growing potatoes and tomatoes, I got the corn and then this, and then we exchanging foods to keep survival going. So you take back the support of that supremacist system. So whatever supremacy is doing to cause an annihilation, you no longer support it. Just like with all you doctors and nurses, there's enough money in the communities. You could build nurses, and you can build a little hospital for your own. Because when you go into these public hospitals, they're killing and taking yours. Because they not going up in those public hospitals. Them Russians, them Jews, they ain't going up in there. They got their own shit. We don't. So down to your own health has to be monitored. You have to fight for that. So I'm calling all the mothers for that. Thank you, and I hope you'll support me.